It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Sanboingon alongside Zamanze Manze. Thank you so much indeed for choosing to stay with us. We are coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Babana. Let's take a look at our top stories. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says violence and destruction will never be a solution. This is the time for unity and collective efforts to address the country's challenges. The Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Princess Eswatini, says the ministry continues to help build the country's economy through ICT. And the Teaching Service Commission has announced the hiring of 170 teachers who will be hired on a permanent basis with immediate effect in both primary and high schools. And now for the news in detail, the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says violence and destruction will never be a solution. This is the time for unity and collective efforts to address the country's challenges. The Prime Minister has been speaking in Parliament when delivering Cabinet Office's first quarter performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year.
On Wednesday, the House of Senate commenced with the debate of the first quarter performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year, led by Senate portfolio committees. The Cabinet Office has delivered its performance report on the day, where the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini on his preamble said, violence and destruction will never be a solution. This is the time for unity of purpose and collective efforts to address the country's challenges.
In the police service front, the operational environment continues to be challenging due to ongoing acts of violence that are headlined by arson attacks, which are unending, thus threatening peace and security in the country. However, the police service continues to remain resolute in carrying out their mandate of providing security coverage in the country, particularly by ensuring that law and order is maintained, as well as protection of life and property. Gender-based violence has now become a great concern, as gruesome cases have been reported and suggest that this form of criminality is taking a new shift. The resultant frustration of our people, in particular the youth, is understandable, but violence and destruction will never be a solution. If anything, this is the time for unity of purpose and collective efforts to address our challenges as a nation. It is imperative that we all embrace the spirit of peaceful dialogue when not in agreement, as opposed to violence.
When debating the report, senators passed their condolences to the Premier on the now frequent violence in the country.
Ngetimo letibonakala ukuthi timatima not kuye kuphela kodwa kulo lonke liswati lelikhona kulelife utibuta ngaso sonke isikhathi uma uphuma ekhaya ukuthi utawuphinza ubuye yini kodwa ke siyabalilela.
May His Excellency the Right Honorable Prime Minister gives us an update on the progress of the construction of the new Parliament with the cooperation from the partners. Through you, Chair, we would be very grateful to see at least some action before our term come to an end, sometime next year.
In his responses, the Prime Minister said civil servants who are part of this violence will be dealt with at an employer-employee level. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Suekoza with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Princess Eswatini, says the ministry continues to help build the country's economy through ICT. The minister has been speaking in Parliament when delivering the ministry's first quarter performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year in Parliament.
The House of Senate continued with the debate of the first quarter performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year, led by Senate portfolio committees. On Wednesday, the Minister of Information, Communications and Technology delivered its performance report, where the Minister of ICT, Princess Eswatini, on her preamble said, the ministry continues to help build the country's economy through ICT.
Our ministry recognizes the role that is played by information, communications, and technology in building the economy of our country as realized globally. We announced that we've taken significant strides in extending electronic payment services through the electronic government unit. The ministry has implemented mobile money payment for passports, travel documents, for civil registration services, birth, marriage, and death certificates, for identity documents and motor vehicle license discs. It is our hope that with the smart traffic, we will also have cameras on all the streets and a faster and more improved registration and license renewal system.
Senators applauded the ministry's significant strides made on ensuring that the country developed through ICT and further asked what the ministry is doing to ensure limited harmful digital practices, including unfactual reporting and defamation.
Nangumsebenzi lokupeshitating imvona lese utsinzile ele umikise etinzaweni letehlukene particularly nangulo la umikise etinkhundleni letehlukene talelive la kaNgwane ngithi subonge lo msebenzi mhle kakhulu
live ngendlela belisemva ngayo lamatubane lo wasukile nemagonso ukuthi letindvo letingaka zitendike evini ukuthi live ulifisela kangakanani impumelelo ukuthi libonakala nalo lisesigabeni salamanye mave
asathi lave nokusekwente kanjani ngoba siva nje ungazi ukuthi kuyatewa lo sibe kutawa noma bathi tetaba nesiteleka noma bathi tekuna usenjedwa angathi siphuma wathini nomlayeni lokho ukuthi ke ize ehamba kangakanani indaba ekhishwe yini ngile misakadweni noma kumbe ngilo kwabo lo uthi ukuthi endlela ungathola ngathi nginami lo sithi akumini uma senjita bese uyasondelelwa utovala usibuthi akumele ivele kwente kanjani
noma ngingakhuluma lapha kuze kube njani le live litawungiva ukuthi ngitsiteni ngalesikhathi nabangirepothe kahle labantu bakumedia. Let them be responsible in reporting.
The minister then responded to the debate.
Konke lokwenteka lena yini imithetho litiko lelibekile kugadza sithundise live negadza kuhlambalateka kwebantfu lo wekucala umthetho lebese ushayile Computer Crime and Cyber Crime Bill lo mthetho lo awukhulumisi kakhulu lo monakalo lesibhekela nawo silive ukhulumisa buqala lo bentekako la ushayiwe ke lo sendleleni lokhulumisa lenkinga ingle Harmful Digital Communications Bill longona lokhulumisa kuhlambalateka kwemuntu netinkampani nelive ibe solo sithi mhlambe kugangwa la emoyeni lokuthi ithathele itingawuhloniphi umthetho kepha nanyalo leliphepha nje la lelive nalo liyabonakala likhipha tindzaba letingesito kanti phela code of ethics of journalism are truthfulness and accuracy, accountability, transparency, and independence and fairness and impartiality. Just yabona ukuthi kude kuba fair kwa kuletindzaba letibhalwako cishe lokuningi vele sengemanga ngenhlanhla lembi vele sathane udlangile sekuhamba kakhulu lamanga.
The Minister of ICT is yet to submit a report of written responses before the House. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The House of Senate says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has a responsibility to help maintain the country's respectable image. The senators were speaking in Parliament when the Ministry of Foreign Affairs delivered its first quarter performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year on Wednesday.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation delivered its first quarter performance report for the 2022-2023 financial year before the Senate Portfolio Committee on Wednesday. On her preamble, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tulsi Dedladla, said majority of the kingdom's representatives in foreign missions have settled in their stations, and a number of the Kingdom of Eswatini's ambassadors have presented their credentials despite current financial challenges. Senators, including the Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini, then debated the report.
Emahhovisi ethu angaphandle abuso asibuko selive engabe induna lehloniphekile ingasho yini ngelembaba noma ngaleligcwele kunene isho ukuthi iyadichenya ngawo ema diplomatic missions ethu
ema ministries wonke akhala ngalo sekule lokuthiwa ulungisa inini manje ke lala ngikhala khona mina ngikhala ekutheni ngoja na usuka la uvuma ukuthi kuyovulwa embassy somewhere kanzi le la siyavula khona embassy tindo atikayemi kahle atilungu vele sisuke sithi sifuna kuwenda njani ngoba phela
ngabe ngubani lofanele ukuthi ateke tindzaba tekuqondzisa image yelive lapha nakubona ngathi khona tinto letikhulunywa ngelive ukhanze ukuthi akuvakali akukuthi ngubani ofuna kuphendule ngubani ofuna ukukhulume ukhanze lo sekukhulunyiwe nje kugcine kona nje umphelwane ngoba emangala ahlupha khona noma lokungasiko kwaze kwakhulunywa imali ngabe mathathu noma abamane kujika kugcine sekuliqiniso.
The minister then responded to the debate.
iTurkey sibheke ukuthi kuhambe some of them bahambe bawufunda bachubeke batiqeqeshe lawo makhozi lamafisha neSerbia nayo ishito kanjalo ukuthi kandla itivulile bona nje siyisayinile vele agreement bahambe bawuqeqeshwa indaba image building lengaphandle ema embassy ethu kufanele ukuthi aportray live ngendlela lengiyo uma shuthi kunema issues lavelile ngala bawati and address them ka diplomacy angeke bangene ku TV athi kunemanga lokusho kangwane baya ulama umbasada babachazele entsine lapha ka foreign affairs uma kuvela indzaba we write sithi nabo ngaloku lokukhulunyiwe uthitiwe what correct it nayi correction kwenda baba political department.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs will table before the House a report of written responses in due course. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Swekoza with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe, has been part of the commemoration of the Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics CRVS Day. The Minister also officially launched the Eswatini CRVS Strategic Plan.
The Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe, says it is pleasing that while Eswatini is commemorating Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics CRVS Day, it also launched its CRVS strategic plan for the year 2022-2027.
The COVID-19 pandemic brought into sharp focus the importance of timely and reliable vital events data and the critical role of civil registration and vital statistics system in ensuring everyone is counted for inclusive access to vaccination, healthcare, social protection, and other government services. This year's theme calls on sustained political commitment at the country level, with governments taking leadership and ownership in strengthening their respective CRVS systems. Change management is also necessary because civil registration units cannot continue on a business-as-usual mode, which relies on slow, passive receive systems that are not automated, reactive systems that are not automated. Strategy is also prioritizing the modernization and full automation of the CRVS systems. The modernization of data systems and business processes will ensure that other systems from the various government ministries and agencies involved in the production of vital statistics are interoperable with the ministry's civil registration and vital statistics system.
The Minister of Health, Nkosi, says the launch of the Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Strategic Plan shows good cooperation among government ministries.
So for us, vital statistics are saying this is how we plan. Then we plan what medicines to get, how much of which medicine to phase out because we no longer have that in our disease profile in the country. So we are using statistics all the time, we're registering all the time, and I'm so glad for the work that ICAP did with the support of PEPFAR to look at causes of death. Quite often people just say, people have died and your heart stops. And below that, there's a lot of stories. And we really need to understand that for us as a country to know where we should focus to making sure that the nation stays healthy and the nation will thrive.
The Minister of Home Affairs says this year the ministry took some of its work to 360 chiefdoms. She says the mopping exercise saw the registration of 6,475 birth certificates, 3,341 identity cards were issued, while 401 marriage certificates were produced. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Smova Shongwe Mbabane.
Lavomisa Town Board has handed over a building that was used by them to the Ministry for Tingundla for the purpose of decentralization. The Minister of Tingundla, David Ngampalala, says decentralization is all about bringing government services closer to the people.
The Minister of Tingundla, David Ngampalala, has toured Lavomisa municipal offices. These are offices that Lavomisa Municipal has handed over to the ministry after moving to a newly built place at Lavomisa. These offices are to be turned into a service center at Lavomisa by Tingundla Ministry.
But if you see, Lavomisa is very, very, very far from development. And this time around, the Tingundla's councillors and also the staff work very hard with the Minister of Tingundla these services so that the people of Lavomisa as a whole will benefit, and also in terms of job opportunities.
The Minister of Tingundla, David Ngampalala, says having a service center is a journey that needs stakeholders to work hand in hand.
You talk of something that is changing. This meeting is coming here to change Lavomisa like never before. So as I say, let me thank the mayor who has been arranged to give us a house. So the offices that we can use for this development, what we are talking about. Our mandate as the Minister for Tingundla is to take services to the people. That is our core mandate.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator, His Excellency George Wachina, says it is wonderful to see Eswatini continue to implement the decentralization policy as the basis of the country's system of government.
Number 11A talks about supporting positive economic, social and environmental links between urban, peri-urban and rural areas by strengthening national and regional development planning.
Lavomisa Chief Kasa Wangwane extended their gratitude towards Lavomisa Municipal and the Ministry of Tingundla.
Sesinelethemba ukuthi le dolobha selitawuthuthuka.
Decentralization allows the people to have a greater say of their own development priorities, and for government to align its resource allocation and policies in ways that makes development real and responsive to the needs of its people. Reporting, I am Tembelihle Makuchwa at Lavomisa Town.
The Teaching Service Commission has announced the hiring of 170 teachers who will be hired on permanent basis with immediate effect in both primary and high schools. The TSC's chairperson, Dr. Amos Matlalele, says this has been done to fill vacancies of teachers within the education sector.
The 170 new permanent allocations from government will be distributed as follows. 45 permanent primary school teachers will be hired and placed in grade C3. 40 permanent degreed high schools will be hired and placed on C5. 30 permanent STD teachers in high schools will be employed and placed in C3. 5 heads of departments will be employed and placed in D3. 30 primary school deputy head teachers will be employed and placed in D4. 20 high school deputy head teachers will be employed and placed in D3. The limited permanent position will be allocated on seniority basis, considering variables such as year of graduation, the length of service in the profession, and the age of the teacher. Permanent degree high school teacher positions. The Commission has in its employment roll call high school teachers serving as permanent teachers in primary schools. Taking this variable into account, the Commission will give priority to this unique group of teachers. Depending on the need of their specialization subjects in high schools, they will be relocated to high schools as per that need. Primary deputy head teacher positions. Through the assistance of REOs, the Commission will consider schools with high enrollments for allocating a deputy head teacher. Selected schools will be advertised. Applicants will be interviewed to identify competent candidates for appointments.
Right now, let's see how our markets performed today in our financial report.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You are still with the news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for making Eswatini TV your channel news of choice. Right now, we shall take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports. Mbabane Highlanders director Ali Khomoge says getting pre-season friendly against the likes of Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns will assist the team ahead of their curved journey against South African side Royal AM. Khomoge was speaking with the Eswatini TV Sports desk in a telephonic interview.
Following the Total CAF Confederations Cup draw, where Eswatini's representative Mbabane Highlanders were drawn against South African side Royal AM, Highlanders director Ali Khomongwe says the outcome of the draw is in line with the pre-season plans he had started of ensuring that Highlanders get friendly games with South African clubs ahead of CAF competitions.
I know that we are ready. That is why other people, they were undermining my mission and my vision when I was taking the team to play with both Sundowns, Orlando Pirates. It was like our sense that will be fit. So it's showing that we are in the right track. Although the Royal EM is very controversial, but we'll soldier on.
CAF Champions League representatives Royal Leopard will face CCFA from Madagascar. Leopards head coach Edwin Matsebura says they do not know much about Madagascar football, but they will prepare for their opponents just as any other game.
In the Madagascar, rankings at national level versus 8 for passenger. Good I face Madagascar. I don't say like any other team.
The first leg for both countries' representative will be on the weekend of the 10th to the 11th of September this year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
With those sports news, we've hit the home stretch of the news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick reminder of our top stories tonight.
The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini says violence and destruction will never be a solution. This is the time for unity and collective efforts to address the country's challenges. The Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Princess Eskanyiso, says the ministry continues to help build the country's economy through ICT. And the Teaching Service Commission has announced the hiring of 170 teachers who will be hired on permanent basis with immediate effect in both primary and high schools.
Well, beautiful kingdom for Eswatini, and that's all we had for you. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the team here at Eswatini TV. For now, good night and God bless.